Stand by your convictions and remain child-free. Take it from a woman who regrets becoming a mother. Hey everyone, welcome back to Lives on Reddit. Don't forget to subscribe to be a for lifer. If you are child-free, please stand by your convictions and never have children. It is truly a brutal path in life, even for those who wanted kids from the beginning. You will lose your freedom overnight, and your relationships will suffer. I became a mother at 29 years old, and I have bitterly regretted my decision ever since. In my teens, I was adamantly child-free, but became slightly ambivalent about the matter after a couple of years of working as a pediatric nurse, where the kids were generally not too bad to be around, despite having terrible illnesses. I have never been an overly warm or compassionate person, but I was able to maintain a professional distance with the children and parents I worked with, which is very different from the realities of motherhood. It is really hard to imagine how much the 24/7 grind of parenting sucks until you are in the trenches. American society has brutal expectations for mothers, which I will get into shortly. I fell in love with an amazing man at work in my mid-20s, and when he began discussing the prospect of having children 2 years into our marriage, I said yes without hesitation. During family gatherings, he loved spending time with nieces and nephews, and I did not want to deprive him of that experience. At the same time, however, I could not envision living my life without the man I loved, so walking away for someone else who was truly child-free was not an option for me at the time. After 2 years of trying, I got pregnant, and everyone in our family was thrilled, except for me. I felt wrong from the dang near moment of conception, and unfortunately, I have yet to bond with my unruly toddler, who I suspect may have ADHD. Objectively speaking, I am more fortunate than the vast majority of Americans. I have a full-time job that I really enjoy, and my husband and I are also able to afford a part-time nanny. Grandparents take care of our son during the remainder of our working hours. Even so, my overall happiness has plummeted from a 7 to a 4. I think that a lot of parents are lying when they talk about the joys of parenting. If these so-called joys include sleepless nights, cleaning up feces, and getting flack from the mommy police from not feeding your baby organic food, then these parents can go frick themselves. I noticed a lot of similarities between parenting and my nursing job from when I was still working at the bedside. Dealing with other people's crap and becoming an emotional tampon while you are pressured to neglect your own personal mental health. But when you are a nurse, you have time off. You are paid for your labor. Motherhood is the most thankless, debasing job that I have ever had the displeasure of doing. And no matter how liberal or progressive your husband claims to be, you will end up doing the vast majority of the household chores and the emotional labor. When the child gets a boo-boo or is vomiting in the middle of the night, the mother will almost always wake up to comfort them, while the father is lounging in front of the TV after a long and exhaustive day at work. The mother is still playing mind-numbing games with the toddler, wishing that she could do anything else. I've seen this pattern repeat itself within my family for generations, and I watched the pattern continue, having helplessly fallen into the same trap. I am a mother who has it all. I work a very rewarding job that pays quite well, but I never stop working. When I come home, the work continues unrelentingly. My son needs to be fed, and then he complains about having the blue sippy cup instead of the red sippy cup. It takes hours sometimes to get him to go to bed because he's a very difficult and defiant child. My husband helps to a certain extent, but the vast majority of the work still falls on me. I probably do 80% of the diaper changes and almost all of the bath times. There have been instances where I reach the end of my rope and refuse to do any work, but everyone in the household ends up suffering for it. My final word of advice is this: if you are frequenting this sub, then you need to remain child-free. In my experience, the happiest mothers are the ones who dreamed about becoming one since they were young. I literally met women in college who were there to get their education or nursing degree, get married, and start a family as soon as they graduated. Those are the women who should be having children. The ones who are willing to put their career aspirations on the back burner, possibly forever. The ones who actually enjoy spending time with small children. I live in a town with a lot of career-focused moms who bring in impressive incomes. Trust me, the high-powered working mothers who have it all are incredibly stressed, miserable, or burnt out in my experience. Like I said before, The work doesn't stop when you get home. It is the equivalent to working 2 full-time jobs. Many of these mothers, like myself, hate parenting so much that they resort to outsourcing the burden as often as humanly possible. I encourage all of you to personal message me if you have any further questions or would prefer to not share your story on the main forum. Too long didn't read? The early years of parenting are absolutely miserable, and you will probably hate it if you are frequenting this sub. Due to pervasive social conventions, women bear the brunt of housework and raising children. High-earning working mothers, in my experience, are often burnt out. Edit? I am in tears over the love, support, and compassion that this community has given me over the past several hours. Thank you for the awards. Thank you for taking your time out of your day to pen words of advice and solidarity. I am from an upper middle class mommy community where brutal honesty about the realities of motherhood is almost always repressed. Every day, I am surrounded by Karens who mock me for not feeding my toddler organic puree and for not revolving my life around structured activities. I am criticized by my community and close family for having the audacity to give my child a sliver of independence, for being selfish enough to pursue my love of origami with the same fervor and passion that I always have. For the first time in nearly 3 years, I feel respected and understood. I have read every single one of your comments, and so many of them resonated deeply with what I have been feeling all along. Although I will never be truly child-free, I am child-free in spirit. Keep living your best lives, my wonderful child-free Redditors, and never give in to the pressure to procreate. Relationships may have to end, but that is a small price to pay for the alternative of raising a child who you have never wanted. For those who messaged me privately, I will get back to you as soon as possible. As I have shared in the comments, I am an essential worker, but tomorrow is a day off and I have every intention of responding to all of you. Thank you. Thank you for being so incredible to a stranger who made a grave, life-altering mistake. I have several coworkers that just love their kids. Being pregnant, babies, they've taken in kids. They've cried over the decision to not have any more. After 3 and 4 and 5, they just thrive off of it, and my shriveled little soul only grows darker. I wish it was not such an assumed future for women. Agreed. Like I mentioned in my original post, I literally met women during college who told me on orientation day that they wanted to be stay-at-home mothers. Most of them were studying nursing or education. I say good for them. We need good mothers who are willing to make sacrifices to carry on the human race. But the last thing we need is more unwanted children. About half the girls I know who did nursing ended up with a kid either during their school or within a year of graduation. Original poster, I must say I really valued your honesty in this post. I can't even begin to imagine the role of a parent, let alone your situation. I do hope you end up with a more happier life and things go a bit more smoothly for you in the future. Thank you so much. It has been rough and I will be miserable for a couple more years, but I will survive. I have no intention of being a high-maintenance parent. I plan on giving my son freedom to live and do as he wishes, with minimal supervision as he becomes more independent. I personally don't see the point of staying in a relationship with someone who does not do 50% of the parenting, especially if he wanted the kid even more. I don't even care that most parents have this patriarchal system. I would break up within a heartbeat if I had to deal with such a deadbeat. Yes, I consider every parent who does not do 50% of the crappy parenting a deadbeat. Still, thanks for sharing. I believe this is the most important aspect of the rant. Maybe if the guy helped original poster with his fair share instead of just the easy and fun stuff, she wouldn't be so overwhelmed and resentful. Why does original poster not put her foot down? I totally would. The way I read it, she agreed to have a child because he wanted one, and she couldn't stand the thought of losing him. If she's willing to go that far to keep him, it seems likely that it's going to take a lot for her to start a conflict with him that may end their marriage. It's sad, but I'm afraid you're right. She doesn't seem like the type that fights for herself. Original poster, you'll end up more and more miserable over time. Please don't do this to yourself. Your child will suffer too.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Don't leave. Subscribe. Yeah.